Hi guys, it's Joanne here. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to sew this beautiful corset you're seeing here. So I have a detailed tutorial on the cutting parts. If you've not seen it, please check my channel. I'm going to be putting it in the description box anyway. And also guys, if you've not subscribed to this channel, please do well to hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell for more videos. And guys, if you want to learn something like this, stick around and watch this video to the end so that you see how I achieved every details, every process in this video. Don't skip anyone, guys. And if you have any question for me, drop it in the comment section. I'm going to be responding to all your questions. So guys, without wasting much of your time, let's get right into the tutorial. So I have the already cut fabric here. So that is why I say you have to watch the cutting part so that you understand what I am going to be doing here. If you've not watched the cutting part, please skip this video and go and watch the cutting part before you watch this sewing tutorial. So guys, I have added half-inch allowance in all the panels you've seen here. So I'm going to begin with the front. So this is the front. I am removing the pins now. So I'm going to be joining it. Please make sure that you place your panels, your pattern very well. Don't mix it up, guys. If you mix it up, that is where you're going to get everything wrong. So you really have to keep your patterns very well. Place it very well. As you've seen me done here, I did not make any mistake by removing the patterns, because I don't want to mix anything up, because these patterns actually look alike. The this panel, both the front and the back, they look alike, as you guys can see, and also indicates the upper part. So I have cut out the lining piece and the main fabric. As you've seen, the main fabric is the lighter one. So I'm going ahead now to pin the part I'm going to be stitching, okay, both the front and the back. And after doing that, I'm going to still go ahead to use my pencil to indicate the front and the back parts. You really have to do this. So while I was marking this, I even wrote the front on the back part. So please be careful about that, although I know my patterns. So now this is the core part, and I've cut out the lining piece, as you can see. So I'm going to cut out the main fabric now. There is one thing you're going to do for this cut parts, as you guys can see here. So I'm going to place everything here on this main fabric. Then for the side of the cup, I'm going to be adding another ½ inch. So you've seen this one I cut on the lining piece. I added ½ inch all around. Guys, have you noticed that? So place your cup back on your main fabric. All right. When you've placed your cup on your main fabric, you're going to be adding another ½ inch on the sides of the cup, not the parts which you're going to be stitching to the cup. Just watch what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to explain everything. So I'm trying to place the cup well, because I'm going to be adding another ½ inch to the side of the cup. So on this side here, add ½ inch. On this side as well, add ½ inch. And on this other side of the cup, add ½ inch. Don't add to the part which you're going to be stitching. You know the reason why I'm adding ½ inch? Okay, now the reason I'm adding ½ inch to the sides of the cup is just to be on the safe side, because we are going to be caging the cup part with on the lining piece. Okay, so there's every tendency that after caging it's going to stretch. It's definitely going to stretch. Okay, it's going to expand the cup on the lining piece. So for your main fabric, which we are going to be using to cover the lining piece, you have to add extra allowance. So by the time you're going to be stitching this, you're going to see. So add extra allowance. I decided to add extra allowance all around this part, like the top part of this cup, upper part. Okay, you know this cup is 3 piece. As you've seen this one here, I decided to add half inch on the sides, the up part to all the way to the side of this cup, of this panel, this other tiny piece here, as you can see. So it is very easier for you to trim out the excess than for you to not have it, than for you to be run short of fabric. I hope you understand what I mean here. So when you're cutting your own, make sure you do the same thing. If you don't do the same thing, trust me, you're going to see what I am telling you here. So it is what I have experienced, tried, and you know, trial and a trial can will definitely, convince you. So just do as I've done here. So now I'm going to also transfer all the labelings from the pattern to the main fabric, possibly notch. So I had to notch the part which I will be stitching. Also make sure you know the parts which you're going to be attaching to the top part of this panel, this piece, tiny piece here, that is this upper part, is a three-piece cup. After joining these two, know the part which will be facing up, which you'll be using to attach to the third panel rather. So make a note to remind you. You don't want to mix it up, guys. So here it is. I've started joining, attaching my pin to it, the lining piece. As you guys can see here, this is the lining piece. So I'm going to stitch that part I just pinned. I'm going to stitch by half inch. Also the main fabric, I'm going to do the same thing. Also stitch by half inch. And I'll do the same thing for this last one here, for both the left and the right. Okay, so I'm going to stitch by half inch. I'm going to leave this top part. Once I finish stitching this one, then I'm going to open press the inside seam, and I'm going to iron. Then I'm going to be attaching it to this upper part. So for this one, I am indicating the center front and the side front. Okay, do the same thing for your panels, just so to remind you where to place. So after joining all those tiny pieces, this is actually what I have here, and I went ahead to bone one part of this, although I'm going to be showing you guys all the details. So I had to bone some parts. We had to find a way to shorten this video because it would have been too long, but I'm going to show you guys. So this is the lining piece I have here. I've open pressed the seam, as you can see. So please, whatever you're making, make sure you iron it very well. That way you will have a very beautiful result. So I also joined the back to the front of the lining piece. Now I've dropped the lining piece. I'm going to show you guys the cup parts. This is the cup part that I have stitched together. Let me show you guys how this is. So if you've seen that it's looking quite big, don't never mind. That's how it will be. Once you fix it to this one here, you're going to see what I mean. So I went ahead to catch this one. So I'm going to show you guys details how you're going to cage the cup. Okay, so yeah, so this is the wrong side of the main fabric. This is what it looks like. Now I don't want to work with this big seam here. I'm going to have to trim this seam inside here. So this is optional, but you want to have a flat cup. I ensure you make sure you trim the seam. You don't want to work with too much seams for your corset. Okay, you don't need it. So guys, now let's show you guys how to cage this cup for the other piece. Okay, not the main fabric. We are not caging the main fabric, it's just the lining piece. We're going to use the main fabric to cover it up. Okay, so now for this one here, what I did for the boning part was that I cut a long strip of 1.5 inches. Your boning is half inch. If your boning is half inch, this is what my boning looks like, the ridge line boning. So cut a long strip of 1.5 inches. then sew on the wrong side by just 0.25. Okay, once you've sewn on the wrong side, bring out the right side using your safety pin like I'm doing here. Okay, so bring it out, bring the right side out. Once you've done that, you're going to have to insert your boning inside it. So at this point, you don't need to even iron this long strip which I just sew. So you need to bring it out to the right side. Now measure up with what you have. Before you cut it, just measure it up and on the joining part for your boob front and the back. Then know where to place. Insert your boning like this, like I've done here. So after that, you're going to head on to your ironing board and iron your boning. Let it be straight before you fix it. So this is how I'm going to fix it. Then I'm going to sew on both edges of this boning. Okay, sew it to attach to the main fabric. That was exactly what I did. I'm going to be adding a rubber boning later, like double bone this, and I'm going to show you guys all the details. So for this other lining piece, like I did, what you're going to do is that you're going to have to also join, but before that I did something to this lining piece. Since we are going to be caging it, I added peplum stay to it. Okay, I added peplum stay to the wrong side. Now you're going to use your hemming gum like this, place it carefully, place it on each of these tiny pieces here. When you do, you're going to place your already cut out peplum stay. You can also use a crinoline net on this. Okay, then place your peplum stay or whatever your stiff you're going to be using. Then take it to your ironing board and iron it down, which I just did here. I have ironed this properly. Now you're going to also stitch this part just the way you stitch the front part. You're going to stitch the side which you're supposed to stitch together. Okay, join these two pieces together. Then when you're done with that, make sure you cut out excess seam. Then you're going to stitch to this one here on indicate the top part of these two tiny pieces to know where to fix. So I have done that, and this is exactly what I have here. Now this is the cup part which I'm going to be using to show you guys how to cage your cup for your corset. Okay, so yeah, cutting out the excess seam now. I don't want to work with any much seam in for this cup. That's why I'm going ahead to cut out these excess seams in the wrong side, on the wrong side. Okay, so now I'm going to start marking the parts which I am going to be caging. First and foremost, from this top part, mark 0.75. Okay, all around this cup. Okay, mark 0.75 all around the scope. The reason why we are doing that is that we are creating, like, will I say, kind of a fence. We are fencing around this cage. That is, this will be as a guide for us to cage this cup, to know where to cage, how to start our caging in order. So you really need to do what I'm doing here. Mark 0.75 all around this cup the way I have done here. So this will serve as a guide for you. Once you're through with this part, this first marking here, you're not going to process to head on. You're not going to start marking other parts. Now it depends on how many boning you want to have for this cup. You can have a very full boning, or you can have what I have here. And now I'm going to now start marking the parts which I'm going to be boning. Okay, I'm going to mark the part which I'm going to be placing the boning. Now this depends on what you want. For me, I'm going to have 3 boning on this other top part of 2 boning. Yeah, 3 boning on this other top part of the cup. Okay, so I'm going to have on this joint area, all the joint area, I'm going to have boning, and I'm going to have boning for this part here. So just at this point, you can just depends on how much boning you want to have for your cup. Okay, so know that you're going to have to be squeezing the bone, like turning it, so it's not really going to be easy while you're sewing this. You have to take your time to sew this. It's not really going to be easy, guys. So I will advise you use a tiny boning, okay, because you're going to be doing all the squeezing, the turning for your boning on this cup. So as you've seen me mark, you notice I did not like mark a very straight line. Somehow I curved the I curved this mark where I'm going to be placing the bone, where I am marking. Have you seen? So just do the same thing. See how you can, while placing your boning, ensure it is not like straight. Okay, just see how you can curve it a little bit while you're sewing it. So guys, I'm going to take this to the sewing machine and we are going to start boning this. So these are the areas which I'm going to be placing the boning, as you guys can see. So it depends on how many bonings you want to have. Like I said, you may not have exactly what I am having here. So I'm just defining the lines so that you guys can see how I am marking this. Okay. Now I guess I'm satisfied with this, just like what I have for the front part. So I'm going to head on to the sewing machine and start boning this right away. We are back here to the sewing machine and we are going to start boning this cup here. Alright, so take your boning and notice that this part that is curved like this is where you're going to place on this cup part. Okay, this part that is curved, if you seen, you're going to place it, turn it and place it like this. Watch carefully what I'm doing. So the part that is curved on the boning, you're going to turn it and place it this way, right? So now start sewing on that part which I marked 0.75 all around. You're going to stitch your boning on the I'm going to stitch my boning first all around to this other side. Hope you understand. Just watch what I'm doing. I stitch to this side going outside the seam. Okay, I stitch on this part going outside the seam, not on the middle part, not on the part going towards the middle. So just stitch the way I am stitching. Like I said, I'm going to be using this one as a fence. So what any other boning we are going to be inserting, we're going to be fixing it inside this one I'm stitching here. So once you've gotten to this point, you're going to have to cut the remaining boning which you don't need for now. Okay, and make sure you stitch again. So as you've seen me done, I worked with my pencil at this point because I didn't want to shorten this boning. So I marked the part which I was going to cut and I cut out with my scissors. So now once you're done with that, you're going to have to also sew this top part. Okay, you've seen that I didn't stitch this other side, the second side. Please don't. So stitch this top part. Also place your boning right. The cuffed part, turn it, let it See what I'm doing here. See the curved parts. You've seen how I place it. Please do the same thing. Now stitch towards the side, also going to the seam, okay? Also going to the seam, towards the seam. Stitch on that part. Don't stitch the side that is facing the inside. Hope you understand. So mark where you're supposed to cut and cut out with your scissors once you've gotten to the point which you're supposed to stitch and make sure you zoom this video if you're not seeing clearly. I tried to position the camera so that you guys can see. So you've seen what I did. You've seen how I placed this cup, this boning. Do the same thing. Now see this part, I did not also stitch it. Now for this other one, I'm going to insert it inside this other boning. That's why you should not stitch the both sides of the boning. Now place it, mark where you're supposed to cut and also fix it inside. At this point, you have to fix your boning right inside the part, the one we used as fence, right? So then follow your lines. So for this one, you can fix your boning, start anywhere and place your boning. Okay, you can start anywhere and place your boning for this one. There's no rule. So far you've marked it, just follow anywhere and place your boning. As you've seen me done, I had to start fixing from the horizontal part then before going to the vertical part. So I'm just stitching and stitching. There's no rule attached to which one should I fix first, which line should I fix the boning first on. So you've seen that I've placed the inside, so this is exactly what I have. I'm going to be fixing other ones off camera, so just follow each of these lines in. Make sure that while fixing it, you're fixing it inside these other ones used as fence. Okay, so fix them inside. Once you're through with that, stitch the other ones you're going to stitch on both sides. Other boning you're going to be fixing, you're going to stitch on both sides. Then once you finish exhausting it, you're going to close back, stitch on this other part of the fence. I hope you understand. So this is exactly what I am going to be doing next. I'm going to be fleshing this cup. All right, so I've fleshed the first one off camera. I'm going to show you guys how to flesh this one. So cut your fiber. When you cut your fiber, cut it in excess, a little bit excess. Then you're going to cover it up, like you've seen how I brought out the cup on the wrong side. That's where you're going to be placing your fiber. Use your pin as you're going. Make sure the fiber you place is flat enough, like that it flows through it plays very well on the cup. Okay, so make sure it lays very well, like everything is well laid. So don't have some part puffing out. Just make sure everything is well. Lay the fiber very well to your cup and use your pin. As you've seen me done, I used plenty pin to hold the fiber to the main cup. Then once you're done with that, you're going to head on to the sewing machine and you're going to stitch all around. So for you, you're going to, what I did was that I turned the right side. I turned the right side like this and I stitch close to the boning area. Okay, not on the boning, close to it. Once you've done that, I'm going to show you guys the next step. So after stitching, let me take out this pin because we are going to be cutting out this excess which we don't need. Okay, so take out your pins carefully. Don't forget any pin inside, please. So Once you've done that, you're going to take your scissors and you're going to cut out the excess fabric. Okay, cut out the excess fabric. At this point, excess fiber, you don't need it. So cut it very close to the stitch which you made earlier on. Okay, which you used to stitch the fiber to the cup, right? So cut it out close to that stitch. Don't cut through the stitch, cut it close to the stitch. So once you're through with that, you're going to have something like this. All right, you're going to have something like this. This is looking very neat, guys. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to be removing this sleeve that I added to this cup part before caging it. At this point, it has served its purpose. I don't need it anymore. So take your time to remove the sleeve that you added to your cup. Alright, so I'm just going ahead to remove it. Take your time and remove this. Use your scissors to cut out. After removing it, use your scissors to cut out just as I have done here. So remove it all around because you don't want to work with any hard fabric at this point. So this is an ST. This is completely optional, guys. If you want to skip this part, you can, but why not do the right thing at once? So cover it up with an ST. A very you have a very beautiful result at the end of the day. So I'm going to take this to the ironing board. I have already ironed this, guys. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to show you guys that when you're covering this up with an ST, since you didn't cut this in bias form, you're going to definitely have excess around here on this down part here. Okay, the excess should be on this down part of the cup. Just do what I'm doing here. Cut through and place it well and iron it back. So I did the same thing. I have both the right side and the left side of the cup. Now I'm going to bring the main fabric and I'm going to be covering this up. Okay, so to do that, you're going to place the right side to the right side of the lining piece of the cage cup. You're going to be turning it. So I was trying to see how many allowance I have left for the main fabric. And yeah, so guys, I am good to go. That's why you have to cut your main fabric in excess, add extra half inch to the side so that So check the seam on the main fabric and on the lining piece and come up by 1.5 inches. From there, you're going to stitch all around. Okay, so that is if you have a three-piece cup. All right, if you have a three-piece cup, know what I'm doing here. But if you have just a two-piece cup, only join the upper part. Okay, only join the upper part, and then you're going to turn it back to the right side. Stitch this upper part like this to this part. Okay, and once you've done that, you're going to turn it to the right side. Okay, so you're going to turn it this way and iron it properly. So guys, for this one here, I have sewn the back to the front just the way I did for the lining piece. So I decided to add a lace fabric to the front parts, although the back also will have a lace fabric, which I'm going to be draping that one to the skirt part. Now for this lacing bar here, you're going to cut a long fabric, measure from the top to the down part of this lacing bar area on your main fabric and cut out about 2.5 inches in width. Okay, so what I did was that I cut out excess, so I'm just trimming out the excess which I don't need. Cut out 2.5 inches in width, then you're going to fold in about 0.5 inch on one side and iron. That is the side which you're going to be using to cover up your lacing bar. Okay, so from this side here, mark half inch. Once you've marked half inch, that's where you're going to place your boning. You know that half inch I just marked is the part which I'm going to be using to turn to my lining. Okay, so you don't want to sew your lining on your boning, right? So now place your boning this way. Okay, that's how you're going to be stitching. You're going to be stitching on your main fabric. Place your boning this way and stitch on both sides carefully. Okay, once you stitch on both sides carefully, you're going to measure again. You're going to measure like half inch from your boning, from this boning you just placed. Mark half inch from this part like this. So that is where they are going to be fixing an eyelet. And after you've marked half inch, place another boning. Okay, so I'll do that and show you guys. So this is the cup which I have already stitched. This is the center going towards the side here, and it is looking very neat already. Now for this boning, this is what I did off camera. So you've seen I have, like, if you want to have three boning, if you want to have three boning without if you want to have three boning, then feel free to do that. So I had just two boning. I left the middle part for eyelet. Okay, so now I'm going to use this to cover up this boning which I just sew on my fabric. Now that part which you folded in on your lacing bar, place it very close to the boning part, but not exactly on the boning, because you don't want to stitch exactly on top of your boning. Place it very close to it. That is why you should iron it. Then go ahead to pin it down, then stitch by half of an inch. Then turn to the wrong side like this and stitch this side, and repeat all the sewing you have on your boning which you made for your boning. Hope you understand. So like you are sewing it back here on the lacing bar. So go ahead to place your lining this way. Sew the side, sew the two side, turn it back to the right side. Then, so guys, I did this off camera. Guys, this video was too long, and I have stitched all this one here. I stitched the cup parts. So what I did was that after stitching the lining piece, I brought it down, then piped the top part before stitching the cup, and I closed the rough part of this cup by using a long strip of about 1 inch to close it up. For this boning here, I am going to double this boning. This is also optional. If you don't want to have a double boning, then you're free to skip this part. So just measure with what you have, then go ahead to fix your boning. Okay, go ahead to fix your rubber boning to each of the casing. Okay, so at this point you really need to take your time to do this. Alright, so I fixed other part. I just came to show you guys how to fix it with just one. Now I'm going to pipe this down part. Alright, I'm going to pipe this down part. You've seen how this cup is looking very beautiful. This is like a game changer if you follow this step. Now this is a skirt part which my client will wear, and I will drape this front part on her. So I attach the back parts, the back bodies on the skirt part. I added zipper to it. So yeah, so when you're adding your zipper, when you're cutting your back bodies, don't forget to remove your zipper bulge. And for this one here, I am going to be adding yoke to it. So for that one, you're going to cut out your bodies, your yoke, and drape as well on your clients. So this is what I have here, guys. I had to like shorten this video. If you don't know how to drape a yoke on, if you don't know how to drape a yoke, drop in the comments. Let me make a video on how you can drape your yoke. Okay, guys, I couldn't capture everything on this video. Honestly, it was a very long one, but this is like the base you can get. If you know, understand this base, then every other thing would be very easy. So I don't know what you think about this video. Drop in the comment section. Tell me what you think about this video, guys. Thank you and see you in my next one.